Hey friends, and welcome back to a new video. On my channel, I've shared a lot about the benefits of minimalism, and minimalism has definitely brought me so many countless benefits to my life. It has generally just made my life so much better physically, mentally, but I would be lying if I said that there weren't any struggles when it comes to being a minimalist. So I thought I'd be honest today and share a little bit about the struggles that I've gone through on my journey to less. So number one is kind of a mistake that I made and that I didn't really think through, which kind of led me to struggle a little bit more on my journey towards minimalism, and that is that I only treated the symptom of consumerism. So when it comes to minimalism, the first thing we all think about is decluttering. We want to get rid of all that junk, all that clutter. And while decluttering is really relieving and it feels good and it is also important, but the clutter and the collecting of stuff is actually just the symptom of consumerism. It is so much more important to first address the mindset of consumerism. In the beginning, I had such a consumerist mindset that I had to tackle that first. Otherwise, if I just went on decluttering and I might be treating the symptom but not really the root cause. So even though I decluttered things, I also was still falling back into the habit of consumerism and didn't really understand the mental aspect or the mindset of minimalism. And it is so much of a mindset. Minimalism is about having less and only having things that add value to your life. So if you really want to be on that dedicated path towards minimalism, you have to first look at your mindset. You can do so just by consuming more minimalist content, learning more about minimalism, and surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And slowly that way you can shift your mindset more and more towards minimalism. It is maybe not as satisfying as decluttering, since decluttering you can truly see like this impressive before and after, and in shifting a mindset you don't really see the results immediately or visually, but it is just as important or even more important than just simply decluttering. Then the next struggle I've gone through is being the odd one out. Now, even though minimalism has become so much more popular over the years, it is still more of a, I don't know if you could say fringe topic, but I definitely don't know anyone in my personal life who would consider themselves a minimalist, of course, aside from Johannes. Luckily, I personally haven't dealt a lot with judgment from immediate people that just don't agree with minimalism. I think most people definitely see the benefits of it, but I have struggled with my lifestyle and the other person's lifestyle kind of clashing together, and this is most prominent during gift giving season, so things like birthdays and Christmas. So this has been a difficult topic every year. I don't necessarily dread Christmas, but it's always difficult to figure out a balance between not wanting to compromise my values, but also not wanting to, in a sense, disappoint the other person if I know that they're in some way expecting a gift or a material gift. For some time, I went the route of gifting consumable items, so things like foods, or I guess things like shampoos would also be consumable, just things that wouldn't necessarily clutter up. Then I also went through a phase of gifting experiences, since I just think that they're so much more valuable than material items. And now I kind of do like a middle ground. I also gift material things, but I want to be sure that it is something that the person truly needs and that this item will add value to that person's life. So I often just ask the person if this is something that they would benefit from, that they would maybe even buy themselves, or that they would like. The next struggle I've had is to know when you've gone too far. So this can kind of go both ways. Either decluttering, I've had struggles where I didn't know whether decluttering this item would be going too far or not. Sometimes I've also decluttered items and then realized that I've kind of gone too far. But also when it comes to buying things, I also sometimes struggle to know, is it reasonable to buy this, or is it just an impulse, or is not buying this going too far with minimalism? I'm just so used to not buying things that when I do buy stuff, I start questioning whether I should be buying this. And yeah, it's just an ongoing debate in my head, and that's something I've definitely struggled with. The next thing I've also dealt with is attaching minimalism too much to your identity. So when we make minimalism too much part of our identity, it becomes this thing that feeds our ego, which isn't a good thing. We in a sense use minimalism as a crutch to push ourselves up, to add to us as a person, same way that people might add their degree to themselves as a person, to say that this is me, I am a minimalist, and without it you kind of feel lost. And often things that feed the ego start to manifest in a way where you see yourself as better than others. And that is not a very good thing. We might not be actively thinking this, but we need to really sit down and have a hard conversation with ourselves whether we might be subconsciously thinking this. And I think anything that you attach to your ego, or anything that feeds your ego, is something that subconsciously, maybe even consciously, tries to set you apart from others, to say that all these things make me better than other people. And when we realize that, we really want to catch ourselves in that and kind of detach ourselves from our ego and stay humble and compassionate. Something else I've struggled with is being triggered by consumerism. Now, when I started minimalism, I thought it was this straight path. Once I became a minimalist, I would stop buying things, and would have less and less stuff, and I would live so humbly and so frugally. But my path to less stuff definitely has not been a straight line. There are times where I suddenly get triggered by consumerism and start buying stuff that I don't need. And when that happens, that is also okay. We just have to maybe sit down with ourselves and remind ourselves of our values, and remind ourselves that ads are designed to get us emotional, are designed to make us want to buy that thing, not because we need it, but because we get so emotional, we feel like we need it. And this kind of also leads me to my next point, and that is that through all the struggling, I also realized that you have to keep reminding yourself of minimalism, or of the benefits of minimalism. So with the up and down struggle of pursuing minimalism, I had to learn that it isn't something that you suddenly just are or know, or like a switch that you just flipped, but it is something that you have to keep reminding yourself of, to keep surrounding yourself of values of minimalism, of people who practice minimalism, have a minimalist mindset, because we do live in such a consumerist society. And so we get all these consumerist messages through ads, through TV shows, even through our neighbors, through people walking down the street, just by the things they're wearing. They are subconsciously often conveying a consumerist message. And because we're bombarded with so much of that stuff, we have to kind of balance it out with more information that is in line with minimalism. So through podcasts, through videos like these, or just journaling, reminding yourself. Often we know the benefits, we know why we want to do this, we are convinced of, I guess, minimalism, but it is very easy to kind of stray off the path of minimalism. And if you do, that's also okay. Just remind yourself again. So these were the struggles that I've gone through on my path to less, on my journey through or towards minimalism. Let me know in the comments down below what some of your struggles have been. What are things that you have noticed or gone through? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I do so much more on living with less, living more intentionally and healthily. I'd also love to know if you guys are a minimalist, or whether you would consider yourself a minimalist, or are you pursuing minimalism. It'd be really interesting when it comes to considering videos that I will do down the line. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.